Hello class, happy week 2, happy Memorial Day. I hope you guys are having a good weekend and appreciate the purpose of the day and get out to enjoy some time with your friends and family. If you choose not to do any schoolwork, that's fine. I totally get it. So I wanted to make this short, but I actually want to make it a little longer because I realized I didn't really give you guys good recap for last week because I was looking at the course content and specifically if it's going to impact you on the midterm and subsequent final. And the reality is it's not too much at all. And when it comes to for the midterm and final, I will give you a detailed list of emphasis. Okay, but because yeah, this course has changed actually this summer session a bit in terms of things that are covered in the order that they're in as well. So the methods of data collection, yeah, it's good to know. In fact, I can teach a whole course on data collection methods. I wish I could. So it kind of sucks that it was just given just kind of like a sentence or two or more in this first week. And things like surveys and interviews. Well, I mean, I myself have taken full-length courses and in those areas to be an expert in. But so I will say this: the types of data, like the nominal, ordinal, interval, ratio, those are things that you will need to know. And know the difference between reliability and validity. You don't need to know what the coefficients are, so when you hear things like alphas and stuff like that, you don't need to be concerned about. Just know that you can calculate reliability, and really what that is, it's really a measure of consistency or trustworthiness, typically when you between like a pre-test and a post-test. Then there's such things as like internal reliability, and that's the reliability of questions within a particular construct or survey. But that's all you really need to know about that. And validity, that's just basically, do you know, is what you're measuring being appropriately measured? Is it valid? And conceptually, that's really all you need to know. And I just wanted to speak about the discussions. There's a whole bunch of discussion topics littered through the weeks, and I'm not hardcore about those at all. If you take a look at them, if something fits your fancy and you want to reply to it, that's great. Reply to your fellow classmates. But in a mathematical-oriented course such as this, an offline, asynchronous, text-based discussion doesn't go as far as me in terms of learning objectives and learning activities. They don't have enough power as if we were in a face-to-face environment where that conversation could be organic and more directly aligned to whatever the topic or statistics we're talking about. So don't get too hung up on those, but still try your best. Week 2. Okay, so this is where the rubber meets the road. We have our first Excel-based assignment, and don't fret about that because I have a little tutorial video down below, which if you just click and pause, you'll be able to answer all the questions pretty easily and actually learn a thing or two. So you're going to need the data analysis tool pack for that. And this will be like the first opportunity for you guys to get play around with Excel in terms of the charts and graphs that you need to do. But again, everything will be shown to you, so don't worry about it. So topically, you do need to be concerned about things like descriptive statistics, and that's basically our measures of central tendency. And this is really basic: the mean, which is the average, the median, which is a middle number in an array of numbers, and the mode, the number that shows up the most. Quartiles, just know that there's 3 of them. There's the 25th, the 50th, and the 75th percentile that create, when you chop a distribution up to 3 ways at those, it creates 4 groups. Measures of dispersion, standard deviation, and variance. And the variance is pretty easy. Once you calculate the average for any sort of data, if you take that average and subtract it from each individual data point, you're going to get a number that's positive or negative. And if you just sum those differences, those score differences up, that's your variance, okay? If you take the square root of it, that's your standard deviation. Easy breezy, right? There's one other metric that my fellow course designers like to emphasize, and this coefficient of variation, and it's in the homework assignment, and that's simply the standard deviation once you calculate it divided by the mean times 100, which gives you some sort of percentage. Again, as a professional statistician and researcher, I don't see that metric come up all too often, but apparently my colleagues do. Again, the data analysis tool pack is going to calculate everything for you in terms of the mean, median, mode, variance, standard deviation, skew, which mathematically gives us an indication of how our data looks. So one of the easiest ways to remember it, there's left skew and there's right skew. Left, think low, okay, so with your left hand, that the data starts low and goes up. And then right skew would be the opposite. Starts out low over on the right and goes that way. So it's kind of opposite of what you would think, but think left and low that way. So that is it, and I just want to give you a warning. This course has changed again. So week 3, 4, and 5 are going to be rough because we get into topics of probability and the normal distribution, and conceptually they're a little hard to grasp. Mathematically, probability is probably the biggest pain in the butt that I hate teaching, because me personally, I can teach you everything about statistics in an applied way and not even touch a probability formula at all. Because probability is strictly formula based, and it's very rare that you would calculate a probability formula based on an actual set of data. But that's what we do in the real world, whether it's a small data set from a survey or a massive big data set from the number of transactions Amazon calculates within an hour of a day. So hopefully that makes sense. But we will power through it, and I don't want you to get too worried about it or caught up on it. But again, similarly for this Excel-based assignment, for the quizzes, I will give you pointers question by question on what you need to do. So that is it. Sorry, this is longer than it needs to be, like 3 times as long as I normally have these intros. But I just want to make up some ground and get you started on the right foot for this week and give you a little vote of confidence. And I hope you get to enjoy this day. It is beautiful here in Okinawa. I was actually going to go do this video out by the ocean because I literally live 90 seconds away from the ocean, but it was actually too wavy, so I could hear the waves crashing. I'm like, that's not going to be good. It's going to drown out my wonderful voice here. So, okay, so that's it. Let's have a great week. Any questions, just ask. And again, if you email me, I'm usually quick, Johnny on the spot, to get back to you ASAP. So enjoy.